Micro demand is the demand of one person, and it's the wants of that one person, as opposed to aggregate demand, which is the demand of the entire population of the country. Aggregate demand is the same as GDP. The components of GDP are C, I, G, and NX. C stands for consumption, which is the goods that are bought within the country. I stands for investment, which is all the money invested within the country. G stands for government spending, which is the amount of money that the government spends. Wow, this is slow. Sorry. And NX stands for net exports, which is the money made off of the goods that America exports.
What affects aggregate demand? First, you have the income level. Consumption is affected, thus GDP is affected. That if the income level decreases, consumption will also decrease. Next, you have interest rates. In your piggy bank, as interest rates decrease, businesses will spend more, thus increasing aggregate demand.
And then the businesses will invest more money.
Fiscal policy.
Which is when the government has to spend money on things such as the army. And then you have net exports, where you have a country like China, which will come out and say that they want more, and then America will go and export more goods to them. So, the determinants of the slope of the aggregate demand curve. The first determinant is what we call the wealth effect, which what this means is that as price levels drop, your dollar goes a lot further, which means that you feel as if you have more money, as exemplified by this person here. And then, since you think you have more money, since your dollar goes further and you feel richer, you go and spend more money, consumption goes up, and thus aggregate demand increases. And next we have the interest rate effect. So the interest rate effect, my favorite effect, you start with your classic money curve. So with your interest rates and your money demanded line, then as you see, as we are very inefficiently graphing the equilibriums as interest rates drop, you see that as interest rates drop, the quantity of money demanded increases. And since the quantity of money demanded quantity increases, as you now see on the price level graph with the aggregate demand curve, it shifts to the right on the demand curve, and then price levels drop. Next, we have the net exports effect.
Domestic price levels are high. Thus, foreign goods look more appealing, so you're going to want to import more than you export. like I said, import demand is increasing, while the amount of export demand will decrease. Thus, net exports will decrease. Thus, aggregate demand will decrease as well.
Thus lowering GDP. So next we have shifts in the aggregate demand curve, and what causes that. The first one is exchange rates. As the exchange rate increases, your net exports are going to decrease. Thus, aggregate demand would decrease. As income levels change, like we previously said, you'll have, now you went from having a little money to a lot of money. And since you have extra money, you're going to spend that money. And that would mean that GDP and aggregate demand would increase. The next thing is expectations. If you think that price levels are going to go up in the future, you're going to go and spend your money now while it can get you more. Consumption will rise, thus GDP will also rise. The last is foreign income. So say you have China, and they start getting a lot more money. China is going to want to buy things from America because America's awesome. We're going to export more to them, and aggregate demand will go up. Last, we have fiscal monetary policy. If it's expansionary, of course, aggregate demand goes up. And if it's contractionary, aggregate demand will go down. Have a nice day.